standards, right education system.
I'm the former Frank Key.
But the Northwest pass, we really need somebody different.
Your career, you're used to winning. Life, it was everything to us. 7 or 8 weeks of two-a-days.
They really made me appreciate
we're allowed to win.
He's coming in and we'll be shooting the whole time.
Let's go back real quick to the Enid Walk of Fame.
Of course, we have training in confined space.
Legitimate, maybe to know a little more.
I could say tip on that, Steve.
Putting our hat on and getting out there and doing the job.
The television model that you watched growing up.
Houston, this is the International Space Station.
City Connections begins right now.
Hello, I'm Steve Kime, and welcome to City Connections. Oh, mercy.
My old friend. He's taking a liking to you. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
my goodness.
Animal control's here. Oh, well, if I have problem hearing your responses today, we know why.
He's the brand. Be careful with him.
Oh, that was, we've never done a show like that before, but that's fun for us. Well, welcome to City Connections. Again, I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Thank you for joining us today. You can tell this is going to be the most serious program that we've had or that we've done in the past 4 years. My special guest today is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for the Oklahoma City Thunder organization. That's Byrnes. Brian, welcome to Enid, Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome to the Enid Television Network. And you're hearing okay? Boy, my left side's in trouble.
I've been around Rumble a long time, but it's always a surprise. His entrances are always dramatic, let me tell you.
He's just so low-key, you know. I don't know how you can just get him to perform.
There's not a cup of coffee that hasn't seen Rumble.
That's great.
He's amazing.
Well, you've got a fancy title. So Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing. Everybody's got a handle on sales and marketing. But just kind of tell us a little bit about your role. Sounds important.
Well, it's really diverse, I can tell you. And I think that's the joy of the business,
Okay.
is that there's no such thing as a day in the life of a Thunder employee. You know, we have about 140 full-time employees work for the organization, and everyone's working in such disparate fields, but it's all united against, some founding principles, and that is the guest experience is number one, and our community investment is number two, and to treat people with respect and to create a brand that is lasting, has great value, great integrity, and unites people together. And regardless of where you are in the business, whether you're in accounting, customer service, ticket sales, digital media management, the list goes on. Everyone's united against the common purpose, and that is to really respect what we can do in terms of the economic and cultural vitality of our state, and do the very best they can do.
It seems like basketball is kind of a fall to spring type sports. Really gets cranked up in October, and then the playoffs, May, June, July, or something like this. But in sales and marketing, it sounds like that's a 12-month or 14-month out of the year opportunity.
Well, there's never enough time of the day, right? But it's a labor of love. What we do is a real privilege to work for the Thunder and to deliver this day in and day out. You
were talking about the game experience. Can you just kind of give us I think people, when they think of the Thunder, they're just kind of focused maybe on just the basketball players and maybe the arena and things of this nature. But a typical day for you, there's probably not such a thing. But can you just walk us through maybe some of the things that you would experience in your role behind the scenes?
Well, sure. I think the thing that we think about the most is delivering an exceptional experience for our fans. The thing that we know acutely about our business is that we can't control what's going to happen on the floor. And the players that we have are unbelievable athletes and even better people. And what Sam Preston and his team do every day to attract the best players they can with the best character to represent the very best of all of us in Oklahoma is job number one. But at the end of the day, I can't tell you if we're going to win or lose. And I can't tell you, how the players are going to play or how many points they're going to score. And so it's a strange situation where the control of the product is really out of control. And so what we've learned how to do is to really control everything else about that. So when you think about what we're doing on a daily basis, it's to control what we can control. And that's the guest experience. It's how we treat people. Sure. It's the type of content that we create for both in arena or on social media or television broadcasts. It's the type of events that we create year-round to make sure that the Thunder is an approachable brand. There's authenticity to the experience. And we think that drives the value proposition. We think that drives fan loyalty and fan engagement. to the point that, this year was probably our best year ever for the brand. And folks are more connected and more engaged. Attendance and television ratings and all of the things that we can score the business on are at an all-time high. And that is due to the direct result of very hard work by a lot of people to focus on the things that we can control, and that is the experience of the Thunder, both at the games and outside the venue.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I'm glad I got to hear that. My ears have finally calmed down from that horn blast. My special guest on City Connections today is the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for the Oklahoma City Thunder, Byrnes. Brian, Rumble was gracious enough to leave the basketball here, and I think everybody in the state of Oklahoma or around the globe can really identify with that particular logo. You had mentioned a figure that was just astounding to me. You said on staff around 140 employees. I can't imagine. That just doesn't seem possible for a franchise, if you will. Now, you've kind of shared some of those roles, but it seems like the roles are always behind the scenes to make that game experience the best, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of the work is quote-unquote behind the scenes. The majority of our staff are made up in service roles, whether we're selling tickets, developing relationships with those folks to make sure we're customizing their experiences, never taking for granted that someone who's investing their time and their money behind the Thunder, never taking that for granted, always making sure that the experience every year is fresh and it's robust and customized. Experiences to us are very important. We think that really creates the connection year over year. As the team matures and evolves and changes from year to year, the thing that has to remain constant is the connection to the experience and the brand. Folks in digital media and television broadcasting and our marketing team and all the folks that are behind the content that are so prevalent today through social media channels. We're producing so much more content today than we've ever done. And that is because of the proliferation of so many different media channels that it really takes an army of folks to think that through, to develop those programs, to make sure they're aligned with the business principles and values. And then that's transferred to the game experience. When you're in the arena, regardless of where you are and where you sit, the experience has to be first class. And from the way you're greeted on the concourse to the way that the game experience speaks to you through all of the promotions and all the experiences and the music and the videos and all those things are all designed to point folks towards a common purpose, and that is a great experience. And the team is a huge part of that. The team sits right in the middle of that methodology. And when they compete at a high level and they give their very best effort day in and day out, that's the Thunder experience right there in a nutshell.
When I looked at your bio, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you joined the Thunder organization in 2005, and here the Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder, is getting ready to celebrate 10 years or very close to that. And I understand that you were involved with professional baseball in a previous professional life and maybe hockey as well. How does all that experiences prepare for you? Because someone's watching this interview, Brian, and they're thinking, wow, what an opportunity this guy has in professional sports. So they may want to know, how do you get to where you're at? So undoubtedly, your experiences in other professional venues have prepared you for this role with the Thunder.
Well, sure. My career spans a number of other professional sports teams. I've worked for a couple of professional hockey teams in Dallas and Phoenix. I worked for the Texas Rangers baseball team.
We've heard of them.
And then I moved to Seattle to join this organization in 2005. And so I've been an employee for a number of years, but certainly all the time in Oklahoma City. And it's a privilege to be here. And the thing that I've learned the most about Oklahoma City and Oklahoma at large is that this brand and this thing called the Thunder really matters. And that's not to suggest that other sports teams aren't thinking like that in terms of their community profile and their connection to their community, because I think they all do. But in this market, it's different. The state of Oklahoma really sees the Thunder as a valued resource. And it doesn't matter where we go, we activate programs throughout all 77 counties in the state of Oklahoma. And we have a regional reach in multiple states with our television broadcast. Wherever we are, we're reminded about the importance that the Thunder has in uniting people together, creating a sense of confidence, optimism, a sense of forward orientation, and a real pride in the Thunder. And that reminds us every day to do our work at a high level, to be creative, to continue to innovate, to continue to be responsive to the fact that it's so much more than basketball for us. I think other organizations, that I talk to my peers, they're sometimes very focused on today, on tomorrow's ticket sale or the next game, and in many cases they have to be, because they're in a marketplace with a lot of competition, or perhaps they have a great legacy with their business and expectations are aligned a certain way. We're different. We have to think constantly about how we represent all of Oklahoma and everything that we do. And that's a great honor and it's a great privilege.
And speaking of all of Oklahoma, it seems like when the Thunder is about to play a game, there's a little bit more energy that's raised in the state of Oklahoma at the time. And you see that even when the Thunder's on the road and you see a young person wear a Russell Westbrook jersey and they may be in Philadelphia or something like that. So the brand is out there. And one thing that I've noticed recently in some ball games that, when the Thunder plays, the people they're in the seats, their fans are there. And I noticed a couple of other teams, and I won't be specific, and I would look at that and I'd tell my wife, look at all those empty seats. Don't they know that the game has started? So that has got to, I guess, reward or know that you're confirmed that you're on the right track with all the work that you all are doing when you see people in the seats early.
Well, I can tell you, we look at those empty seats in those other buildings too, and that really helps sharpen our focus. Yeah. I think we're fortunate that the experience in Oklahoma City has always been so interesting and so robust and so meaningful that we've created a whole attitude that the game experience starts well before the game begins, and that we encourage our fans to be there early. We tell them constantly that the team really benefits from that it's different in Oklahoma City. And I can tell you, in conversations with Sam Presti and his staff over the years, they take a lot of interest in the fact that when you play in Oklahoma City, it is different, and there's an affection for the team that's displayed by the fans by being early, wearing blue. Look at your outfit today. Your wife did a great job, but wearing the blue and getting behind the Thunder and being early and being vocal and being positive and encouraging the team. This isn't a high school football game. This is professional sports, but some of those attributes do apply. And Sam has told us repeatedly that the players really do appreciate it, that there is a difference in playing in Oklahoma City versus some of the other markets. And over time, that's going to continue to define the identity of the Thunder. Sure. And that's as much a fan identity as it can be a team identity. And as we bring new players into this organization year after year, part of the narrative is that this is a great place to play. You're supported, it's encouraging, it's positive, the fans are with you. And I think that creates a special environment for all of us.
And I think it's fun for us as fans when we're watching on television that you'll see some of these color commentary sports broadcasters talking about the fans in Oklahoma City or fans in OKC and how loud it is. And so it's just not our view, it's others as well.
Yeah,
so
we take a lot of pride in that. It's
now,
well noted.
You joined the organization in 2005. The Thunder came to being in 2008, around there. Mm-hmm. And I understand there's a 10-year, I'm sorry, the calendar just goes way too fast. Yeah. 10 years. It's hard to imagine. A decade used to be a long time,
right?
but not anymore. So there's a 10-year celebration coming up. Can you tell us about that,
Sure.
Brian?
It's a great opportunity for us to talk about the fact that this is our 10th season in Oklahoma City.
Impossible.
And there'll be so many things that we'll be doing for the 10th time. And it just naturally becomes a nice milestone for the organization to refer back to either how it started, a particular program or an experience or things that we've done in the community, or the things that we've done along the journey to where we are today. And I think we're looking at it from a couple of perspectives. One is an appreciation for the fact that it's now 10 years. And when our summer league kicks off on July 1st in Orlando, that's the 10th version of a team that's competed for Oklahoma City in the NBA Summer League. And it's where all of our players who are drafted or on early contracts, it's where many of them have got their start. And so you can draw great narratives to the fact that that's where Russell Westbrook spent his first day as a Thunder employee in 2008. And you think about the natural arc that he has been on and so many other players that have played there. And so for us, the 10th season is about recognizing the journey, thinking about the foundational elements that have been built on and off the court. But it's just as important for us to recognize that it's a catalyst for moving forward. How do we take advantage of all the good work that has been done and the strong foundations that we have and look ahead and think about where can this go? How can we get bigger, stronger, more efficient? How can we innovate? How can the 10th year be a jumping off point to something that's in the next 10 years, and how do we build forward? And I think we're going to take that approach rather than a nostalgic anniversary type attitude, which I think is somewhat maybe intuitive when you celebrate milestones and anniversaries. But we're going to take a different approach. I think it's maybe a more thoughtful one. It'll allow us to be maybe more disciplined in how we recognize certain events and certain moments. But I think the overriding principle would be, how does this look forward to us? How do we build on this? How do we look to evolve and get better? And that, I think, best complements the core values of the organization. We've always been about continuous development, getting better. Every day is an opportunity to advance on what you've built. And I think the 10th season will be a lot of that.
We want to take a short break, but when we come back, I do want to talk a little bit about character and values, because you hear that from a variety of sources within the Thunder organization. We're going to learn more about that. My special guest today, the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing for the Oklahoma City Thunder organization, Brian Byrnes, who joined the Thunder back in 2005, and sounds like he's got a pretty exciting role to make that great experience for all of us. We'll be back with Brian right after this. Welcome back to City Connections. Thank you for staying with us today. My very special guest all the way from Oklahoma City, and with the Thunder organization is Brian Byrnes, and Brian serves as the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Brian, you mentioned character and values, and I've heard Sam Presti and other individuals on camera, say maybe at a press conference or something, you hear those two words, character and values. Explain to us why is that so important in the Thunder organization?
Well, you mentioned Sam in particular. Sam, Clay Bennett, Danny Barth, they are the executive leadership and the vision for the organization. And from the very beginning in 2008, as we were developing the business and hiring talent and putting our business practices together, the overriding influence from those three were to build an organization of high character, where people would be treated with respect, people would be expected to put in hard work. There would be no substitute for doing the work the right way. There's no shortcuts, and that our standards for excellence would be our own. And there was many opportunities to look abroad, whether it be other professional sports teams or other leagues or, quite frankly, other successful businesses in our market to set the bar for us on whatever that may be. Yet Clay and his ownership group and Danny and Sam constantly remind us every day that the standards are our own, and that people will be expected to reflect the values of Oklahoma. Treat people well, work hard, be resilient, have values, make decisions based on facts, don't knee-jerk and take shortcuts, build a sustainable entity. And that's hard to do in our business sometimes. We're an instant gratification product.
Sure.
You know, we play basketball games and the result is known immediately, win or loss. Player effort can be judged, good or bad. Expectations sometimes can be externally influenced by the media and the proliferation of sports radio and sports networks and all of that. So it's a hard business to be in. It's influenced a lot by pop culture, the next thing, the next social media promotion or the next audio track or the coolest video. There's a lot that can influence us. And while we take all of that in, and we try to be innovative, and we try to be best in class in what we do and how we do it, there are filters that are constantly in front of us, shaped by the organization, to do things the right way, and to think about what we want to do, to be measured, to be very disciplined, and to reflect the very best of what we think the market expects, and in many cases to show leadership to the market, to show a higher standard, and to show that we can do things at a certain level, whether it be an event in the community, whether it be a summer camp for kids, whether it be the game experience, whether it be how we communicate with a consumer. There are many ways to look at that. At the end of the day, all of those words are buzzwords. They're just words. You have to really live it, you have to believe it, you have to work at it. And I think our leadership team, led by Clay and Danny and Sam, they embody that every day. They ask that of us. They hold us accountable for leading the staff in that direction and to holding ourselves to high levels of standards. And I think it's formed a great culture in our organization. Sure. We look for efficiencies. We root for each other. We're constantly building on the notion that 1 + 1 = 3. It's a really neat environment to be a part of because we're constantly challenged on excellence, and that's hard to achieve, but it's a fun journey.
Well, I, for one, appreciate the emphasis on character and value and not the shortcuts, as you alluded to. And I know there's other people across the state, across the country the same way. I know there's coffee groups, Brian, that after a ball game, they get together at McDonald's or someplace or a local coffee group or breakfast place, and then they talk over the game. And it's the OKC Thunder, but sometimes I think it's the Oklahoma Thunder in some parts of the state. How do you measure the impact of the Thunder organization in all 77 counties, as you said?
Well, it's easier to measure that today because of how great data can be. So whether we're selling tickets, or we're judging on email subscriptions, or if we're talking about content for cell phones and mobile devices, there are more and more ways to start to measure that. But there's really no substitute for the anecdotal feedback that we get from folks that say, I live in Weoka, or I live in Guyman, or I live in Lawton, and I feel like I'm a Thunder fan, and I feel like I'm connected. Sure. And quite frankly, that's born out of the fact that we've spent a lot of time investing in every community. We take the OG&E Thunderbolt around, which is a mobile marketing platform, and take it throughout the entire state and activate at festivals and weekend events and things that are important to each community. We take the Thunder Youth Basketball program now as a very mobile experience where we can take one-day camps into communities all around the state. The Blue Alliance is a network of fans, well over 100 captains now that organize Thunder events like watching parties and other things where they unite fans together in their local community, and we recognize that and try to draw upon that and build on that. The Guyman Fire Department is one of my favorite stories, particularly coming out of the northwest corner of the state. They drive, what is it, about
5 hours?
5 to 6 hours
at least,
to come into Oklahoma City once a year to stand at attention and hold the flag as the color guard for the national anthem, which is 90 seconds of work. Mm-hmm. And then they turn around and take another 5-hour trip home. So for about an 11-hour experience, they're getting 90 seconds of gratification. But those guys absolutely see it as an honor. They love what they do. We have a great and special relationship with them. And it continues to illustrate for us the reach that we have and the power that we have to connect the entire state behind this thing called Thunder basketball. Another quick illustration of that would be we have a minor league product, the Oklahoma City Blue, which is where many of our players will develop and play. And every year we host an 11 o'clock in the morning game time at Chesapeake Energy Arena, and it's the Oklahoma City Blue Kids Day game. And this year we had well over 16,000 kids from all over the state. We had schools coming in from 3- and 4-hour distances to come to the arena and have a really cool experience. In fact, there was a school from Enid that was there as well. And that's another reminder that folks are really engaged, they're connected, they see value in what we do, and uniting the state has become something that we think more and more about. It's a great opportunity for us behind the brand and the business.
We need to take another short break, but before we do, my new best friend Rumble left me a basketball, and I guess he's our mutual friend. So my question is, Brian, he has a very unique, significant role. What's it like working with Rumble?
Well, he tussles my hair like he did you, and he's a character to the nth degree. I'm not sure we have a more important resource outside of our team and our players than Rumble. He appeals to, quite frankly, all demographics, all segments of our fan base, and he was designed in a very specific manner. He is intended to be fun, athletic, confident, very optimistic. He can be challenged in just about any way, and he'll attack it with vigor. He's a really important part of how we've developed connection to the team. He will make hundreds of appearances throughout the year. He'll be all over the state in a variety of different capacities. He's very approachable, and so he's terrific with kids as a touch point. He takes
big kids.
he takes the experience into schools. He does learning programs. He does anti-bullying. He does STEM development. So there are really important things he can do in the schools and with the kids. He'll be at birthday parties on occasion, but he can also come into a television network in Enid and conduct a nonverbal.
And teach me to spin the basketball on my finger.
and do a nonverbal interview with you. So he's really talented. And he's a very important part of who we are.
We want to take the short break. We want to talk about, I think it's called the Rolling Thunder Bus, and it has to do with books and ball players and things of this nature.
Sure.
So, again, thank you for joining us on City Connections. My special guest, Brian Byrnes from the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we'll be having more with Brian right after this. Welcome back to City Connections. I'm Steve Kime with the City of Enid. Again, thank you for joining us today. And we've been talking with Brian Byrnes about really a variety of facets within the Oklahoma City Thunder organization. And Brian, there's several popular, but one that comes to mind is the Rolling Thunder Bus. And I think it's painted blue, but I know it's got books. I know it's got basketball players. Yeah. Explain what this is all about.
Maybe one of the things that we're most proud of from our community activation. It's American Fidelity Rolling Thunder Book Bus. And it's an old school bus. It's exactly what you think it is. And we took all the seats out and put bookshelves in it and customized it. And I think at any moment in time, there's about 3,000 books on the bus. And the genesis of this was back in 2008 as we were developing the program. There had been some history in the market of these book buses. But we were really connected to the narrative that the state was challenged by reading and literacy programs, and that there was a real crossroads at third grade, that kids were either acquiring the skill set and the love to read, which obviously pays huge dividends throughout their life, or that's where they would struggle and fall off. And so we've attacked that with vigor. And American Fidelity has been with us throughout this entire journey. And we take the Rolling Thunder Book Bus around to elementary schools in the Oklahoma City Metro. And we visit third grade classrooms and bring kids out onto the bus. And the net effect is they walk out with a free book. And in many cases, these kids are telling us it's the first book they've ever owned. Mm-hmm. It's a really powerful experience to see a kid's eyes light up to own a book and to be inspired that this could be something new and important in their lives. In many cases, we take our players with us, and the players are absolutely connected to the program. And there's nothing more powerful than seeing a guy of Stephen Adams' stature, sitting on the floor of a bus and interacting with kids as they come on. And
he's still tall sitting down,
yes,
correct?
He towers over them. But it's a high five on the way in. It's an encouragement to read. It's engaging them on the title that the kid selected. It's giving them a bookmark and a wristband on the way off. And now that we're 9 years into this, we are inundated, quite frankly, with letters and emails from administrators and parents now with kids entering junior high or early high school saying that they can remember the day that their child came home from a book and was inspired because they met a Thunder player and they had a great experience. And to know that we can attack that issue in our state in our way with the power of our brand, with our players and that program is a really rewarding thing, and we're really committed to it and want to continue to build on it. It's a really powerful opportunity for us. And
to compliment on your effort, you are targeting, my understanding, a very important age, third grade. You get a person hooked into reading at the third grade and fourth grade, then that's the right thing to do. One of the things that I hear people talk about the Thunder and what they appreciate about the Thunder, besides the character and values, is the community involvement with the Rolling Thunder book bus and things of this nature. But there's also kind of a refurbishing of some basketball courts. Now, Enid has Brent Price and Mark Price. They played in the NBA. Don Haskins, who had a movie, Glory Road, made about him. Don's from Enid. We have a park here. Communities all across Oklahoma love basketball. And the Thunder organization or the foundation may be involved in refurbishing these basketball parks. And I think you've done so recently in Northwest Oklahoma and Woodward area.
That's right.
In that area. What's the criteria and how does that work, I guess is my question.
Well, it's a really neat experience that we're a part of, and the Thunder Cares Foundation is the entity behind this. And the idea and the vision is that we'll be all throughout the state with a network of basketball courts at some point in our life cycle. And so you got to start somewhere.
Sure.
And so we started in Oklahoma City with the Police Athletic League a number of years ago. It has now mushroomed into 15 basketball courts that are starting to sprinkle themselves around the state. So you mentioned Woodward. We did that in the fall of 2016. Okay. We are in Altus, we're in Tulsa, we're in Moore, in Oklahoma City, obviously, and constantly looking at how can we get throughout the state. And that's the long-term vision, is to be maybe in 77 counties someday, but certainly through the major metro areas in the state of Oklahoma. And the point is that basketball can be just a great experience for folks, recreationally or otherwise, to play, to be physically active, to compete, to learn the game, to play one-on-one with your best friend, or to play in organized leagues. It can really run the gamut. And it addresses a number of things that we care about, which is developing the game, promoting the game, encouraging people to play, encouraging teamwork with others, getting kids physically active, get away from the couch, put the video game down for a few minutes. Yeah. And so we're actively looking for more and more communities to do that. The Thunder Cares Foundation is kind of the central repository for that. We have a number of communities that have written us asking about the process, asking about the criteria. We work through that on a customized basis. Every community is different. At one point we thought about formalizing a request process, but that didn't seem fair. Every community has different venues, different needs, different resources, but at the end of the day, what we're looking for is a partnership with the local community, with an entity that has a need that we think we can help address and work together and leave a lasting legacy. I mentioned earlier that we're in Woodward. That was our most recent one. And even today, 6 months later, we'll get an email or we'll get a photo from somebody saying that they were on the court over the weekend or they were playing there last night, and they'll thank the organization, they'll thank the city of Woodward for the resource. And that's a very rewarding thing, and it inspires us to do more.
Well, I was born and raised in Oklahoma. Matter of fact, my hometown is Perry, Oklahoma, just off to the east here. And I remember my mom numerous times, Steve, get outside and play. But I would go out in the driveway and I would shoot baskets. And now this dates me, okay? But I just had a plywood backboard and a bent rim that would bend even more, and it was nailed to a tree.
Yeah,
okay, so that dates me. But countless hours of just getting out. Of course, there was no video game options, but it was fun to get all the kids together and shoot baskets. So I just really congratulate the Thunder organization for reaching out across the state for doing that.
Thank you.
I have two more questions for you, and I might get in trouble for this question here, but it's on tape. So, number one, how can I got Rumble's autograph, so how do I get Russell Westbrook's autograph? Are you asked that?
All the time.
I imagine so.
And what a great thing that people want is connection to Russell Westbrook, right? Yeah. He's such a great person, more than a basketball player, and he's been unbelievable for our organization in so many ways. I don't know how you get Russell Westbrook's autograph. Well, I can tell you, come to the game early, and I'll try to help you figure that out.
Here's the disclaimer. My wife challenged me. She goes, I don't think you'll ask your guest that question, but I did.
Well, she dressed you well, so she deserves the question.
Well, Brian, we are just grateful for you to be here in Enid, Oklahoma today and to visit the Enid Television Network studios. Here's my final question for you. Since 2005 and the 10 years with the Thunder organization, what has been your proudest moment?
Wow, that's a heavy question.
And it doesn't have to be all about Brian, but it's pretty open-ended.
I think the thing that comes to mind.
Sorry about putting you on the spot.
That's okay. But there is something that comes to mind, and I think I share this with all of my colleagues at the Thunder. I think we are always taken aback by the impact that we have. And I think sometimes we can lose sight of that. I think sometimes we can get really focused on the task and the job. But when we meet people in the community and they are proud of the Thunder and they tell stories of a connection to the Thunder, and they say that wearing blue, dressed like you are today, that's a conscious decision that somebody made. And it's a reminder that we've made an impact. And when I referenced earlier, letters from parents saying, my son has never been to a Thunder game, but he got a book on the book bus, and they thank us for that. Those are moments that we really take to heart. When we see the building just full of energy, and folks are there just having the time of their life, and they're really excited, and they want the team to play well, and they want the team to win, and we all want the right result. But even on nights where we don't win, and folks walk out of there and they've had a great experience and they thank us on the way out, that's humbling to know that you have a product and you have a brand that is so well respected. And I think as humbling as it is, it's also fuel to do it again and to do it better. And I think that's how we approach this day in and day out. Well,
put you on the spot, but well said. Very good. Brian, we're pretty much common folks here in Enid, if you will, salt of the earth, Oklahomans, if you will. But we're always appreciative for people to stop by, and especially here at the Enid Television Network, to visit with us. And on behalf of the Mayor Bill Shuey and our city commissioners, they've asked me to present this coin to you. It's a commemorative coin where Enid turned 123 years old. If you look on the other side, you'll see our birth date, if you will. Enid's 123 years old last year, so I guess we're up to 124.
I did the math.
So, but anyway, they wanted to make sure that we treat our special guests special. So hopefully you'll have that proudly displayed at your desk, and you'll be mindful of Enid, Oklahoma, and our visit together. And when you see, I guess Rumble left, animal control guy, was that?
I'm guessing Rumble won that battle.
I think he was riding on the guy's back, so I agree with you. But at least he left a nice gift.
Yeah.
Brian Byrnes,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Enjoy the coin, and we're just so proud of the Thunder. Thank you for being with us. And this is not a one-time deal. You know where we're at. And so if something comes up during next season, summer, fall, whatever, and you want to come talk to us here in Enid, you have an open invitation. And
appreciate that very much.
You can bring Rumble or not. It's up to you. So thanks for being here today. And thank you for being here today on City Connections. Again, I just have a real treat with all the different guests that we have to present what's going on in Enid and also in Oklahoma. Brian Byrnes, Senior Vice President, Sales Marketing at the Oklahoma City Thunder organization. So I hope you enjoyed our visit today. I certainly have. So again, I look forward to seeing you next time on City Connections. I'm Steve Kime, and again, until next time, make it a great day. Thanks.